Stuff like this really bothers me. This video is brought to you by the Officer Tatum Store. The Officer Tatum Store. Get the merch link in the description section. Make sure you get your brand new merch. Like and subscribe to this channel on the YouTube channel, and also download my podcast, B Tatum Show, the B Tatum Show, on all podcasting platforms. That link is also in the description section. Y'all know what to do. Let's get into this. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm incredibly frustrated when I see situations like this, when I see events that occur in our country that involve police officers unnecessarily losing their lives. And the thing that bothers me probably even more than that is the exposure that it gets when it happens. This is completely uncalled for, illegitimate, in a story that happens all too often, but people don't want to talk about it. And I want to first say RIP to the sergeant who lost her life in this situation. I think her name was Ritmatic. She lost her life in a very tragic way, and the other officer, the young guy over here, is fighting for his life after receiving head injuries due to blunt force trauma from a firearm. Now, these two idiots who, I don't even know how people in our society exist like this. This was a simple call. This was a simple call of barking dogs. Police made contact with these individuals. I don't know all the details, but from what I read, this individual, the male suspect, fired a shot at Officer Bradley, which is the younger male officer that I showed you here, fired a shot at him, critically injuring him, and fired another shot at Sergeant Ritmatic, and chased her down a hallway, pinned her up against the door, and began to execute her as she pled for her life. The reports say that she begged him, please don't do this, please don't do this, just walk away. You don't have to go down this path. As he shot her, and I believe this young lady joined him, took the officer's firearm, gave it to him, cocked it, I'm assuming, and gave it to him for him to execute that police officer as she begged for her life. Now, the prosecutors want the death penalty in a federal, they have to bring it in the federal court because in this particular city or this particular state, there is no death penalty. But I think this is problematic, man. It's not just because of the color of the people or whatever the case may be. Although I think that has a factor in it, and I'll tell you why in a second, but it is troubling that this stuff occurs with complete total disregard. And to put the icing on the cake, or put the nail in the coffin, for lack of a better terms, is that after this occurred, she gave him the keys to, I believe, her car or the car that they shared. He drives away. She goes back to the hotel room where this all occurred to get her two children. She had kids. They're doing this stuff, and she got kids. I don't get it, man. I don't get what make a person go this low over a barking dog situation. And you decide to execute a police officer and potentially kill another one as she pled for her life. How sick is this? And the problem, an additional problem that I see that bothers me even more, is the fact that these two individuals are Americans of African descent. Now, just say if the roles were reversed, just hypothetically speaking, the roles were reversed and you had two Caucasian suspects or Americans of European descent, or whatever you want to call it, and then you had two officers who were Americans of African descent. And you had a American of African descent laying on the ground, pleading for her life as this white man stands over her and executes her. How would the narrative be portrayed? It'll be protest in the street. It'll be BLM. They'll make it about race, 100%. Now, let me add a caveat to this, and this is probably one of the most important things I could talk about to this subject is, how did these officers even get in this situation? I wonder. I don't have access to the body-worn camera, but I want to see, because I think there could be a level of critique. How is it that an officer initially gets shot and this officer gets chased? What are these officers doing? Are they buying into the social justice perspective and they're afraid to engage? That's the problem that I think is going on in this country, and people are not being aware of it. If you happen to be a white officer and a black man is involved, are you apprehensive to use force because you're afraid of the backlash? when a barking dog situation turned into a fatal encounter. I want to see the body-worn camera and see, were they participating or were they acting to the best of their ability with the best officer safety that they've been trained to have? Or was it some, oh, we just want to be nice to you guys, you're black, and so, we don't want any conflict. We're just trying to see what's going on here. And then all hell breaks loose. And somehow the suspect is chasing an officer through a hallway and corners her. Now, I don't know how this situation really transpired, because they could have done all the best training or have all the best training in the world and acted on the best of their abilities, and it still happened to them. But I want to know, because I think that this could be a negative phenomenon that's going on, that's negatively impacting these officers and they're losing their lives. I want to know how this officer was chased and how she ended up in a position pleading for her life instead of using force. How she ended up in a position where she's, suspect taking her gun as she's pleading for her life. I wonder what happened. I'm not accusing anybody. I'm just saying these are things that I want to know and get to the bottom of, because this is very troubling, and I'm very upset that this happened to police officers in this country. And this has happened all too often. And nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to make a big deal about it. Nobody wants to call this an epidemic. It's totally fine, because it's happening to police officers. And that is a shame in our country. Comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think about it. Email me at connect@theofficertatum.com if you have commentary from the podcast. I love you guys. I appreciate you. You keep your head up. Let's keep fighting a good fight. I got your back. I'm going to speak up for you. If nobody else is going to tell the truth, B. Tatum is going to tell the truth until the day I am gone from here and I'm on with the Lord. So visit the Officer Tatum store. Link is in the description section. Also download the podcast. That link is in the description section. I'll put the link to the full story of this interaction also in the description section. I appreciate y'all. I'll see you on the next one. Talk to you on the next one. I'm out.